Good afternoon. I'm going to do the presentation for life orientation and life skills. In short, DPPE and BES, Lols 12. My name is Hilka Nangula, and I'm the tutor for this module. Welcome to the presentation of life orientation and life skill for semester 2. Take note, all chapters in this module are equally important, but more emphasis will be put on certain areas where students had difficulties in the past. In the past, we have some students who are really struggling, so we're really trying to see how we can meet them halfway. There are some important definitions to know. Without these definitions, it will be very difficult to study or even to work out questions or to study for the exams. Very, very important. I'm quickly going through them and then discuss a little of each. Up here we have Passover, Christmas, Good Friday, Easter, Anno Domini, before Christ, humanity, or we can say humanness, personal development, self-image, and then ancestors. Now, these important definitions, they can also be asked in many ways. Sometimes they will list them and ask you to link, or they put a link and say, look in column B and column A and make a small definitions, or they can ask you to give a definition for each. Or you might even, as a student, be asked to try and make the difference between some, for instance, say Passover and Good Friday. What is it? Or to say in detail, when do people celebrate all this? Like, for instance, the Passover, or let's start with Christmas. Christmas is celebrated all over the world, especially when it comes to religious people. They love to celebrate this. Other people may do it, taking the kids to shoppings and so on, but especially the Christians like to enjoy this one. Actually, the Christmas is actually the birth of Jesus Christ. And then we look at Passover. When do people have Passover? Students should know, where does it actually originated from? Where does it exactly say Passover? Why? Look deeply where it started. Be able to explain. Ask yourself, what is this Passover? It's easier just to copy the things the way they are sometimes, and students find answers in that way. But actually, it's not the right way. The right way is to study or to read and really to understand the whole concept. Then you come to Good Friday, which is just the Friday before the Easter Sunday. We talk about the death of Christ. The Christians, especially the Lutheran and the Catholic people mostly, they like to celebrate this type of things, that type of, not things, but that type of festivities. Good Friday, Christians usually think about or commemorate the death of Christ. They think about what Christ did on the cross, and then thereafter, they also talk about Easter. Usually it's one weekend. When you come from Good Friday, then Saturday, then the Sunday, people celebrate Easter. In some communities, Easter is starting to lose its value and so on. But when you really study in this book and you go on, it gives you always a new meaning. It tells you, and then you start understanding why was Good Friday there and why was Easter there. The next one the Anno Domini, that one, mostly, and that one before Christ, the most important from those two is just to know actually I call it the acronym, or let's say um, um, the short name for that. Why do they say that? If you say before Christ, then maybe it's not necessary to know the things that happened before Christ, but if you know those, then you'll be able to define them. Excuse me. And then what about humanity or humanness? The importance of being a human. The definition can also be given on this one. Please read thoroughly before you answer all this many concepts and definition. Define definition. And then we look at personal development. What is that now? We look at how a human being or a person can develop personally. It has to do with how do we actually develop the mental, the body, the everything that goes around that. Then we talk about human development. And also the self-image. What about this concept? If you have to define, what would you say? Think about the image that one would like to portray. How do you want people to see you? How do you want to see yourself? What image of yourself do you have? Read to be able to answer. And the last one you might be asked about ancestors. Who are they? Actually, they are our forefathers, yes. Why are they important? Why should people value them? Why should we think about them? And so on. What role do they play in people's life? All these things are very important. So before we read and understand and write assignments and write exams and study for whatever, so it's very, very important here, students, to know all these definitions. Then we shall also look at overview of the study units. Of course, each module consists of many units. In this unit, you're going to look about the concept of the Holy Communion. We're going to look at the meaning of the persecution and crucifixion of Jesus, the characteristics of Jesus, the meaning behind saying love our neighbor according to the Bible, the roles of Council of Churches in Namibia, the qualities and functions of inspirational religious leaders. Let me start with the first one. What is the concept Holy Communion? And it says holy. Why? Why do people this? Why do people do it? Why do people take it? When you think about the Holy Communion, like most Christians will do it, or like most Christians will actually take part in this, it has to do with the body and with the blood of Jesus Christ. In the Holy Communion, the wine and the bread is served. Every time the Christian, or when people take the Holy Communion, especially the bread, it reminds us, or it reminds the Christians to the body of Christ. And the wine symbolizes the blood. If people read, especially in the book of Mark, it's explained very, very clearly, where it says, this is my body and this is my blood. It was giving this meal to the disciple during the Last Supper before he left the earth. The meaning of the persecution and crucifixion of Jesus. Why was Jesus crucified? Is because of the people's sin, yes, but now one is to understand it. It's not only just about reading, it has a meaning. After the crucifixion, when was it done? Was it during Easter? Was it during whatever? It's very important to see why was it done, when was it done, and what meaning it has. Please, students, go through these things and then understand it. Then the characteristic of Jesus, what kind of person he was, what good example does he leave for the people on earth when he was on earth. He has such good characteristic. He used to go and pray alone. He was very, very human. He solved many, many problems and so on. He used even to dine with the Jews and so on. What type of Jesus he was, and why should he be followed? What good example did he leave? All those things are very, very important. Then we look at the meaning behind the saying, love our neighbor. Who is our neighbor according to the Bible? Is it only the real neighbor over the fence up there? Or is it your brother? Is it your sister? Is it only family members? Who actually are the neighbors? Biblically, when they talk about love our neighbor, the way I understand it is to love your next person, the person, and any person actually. Give love, show love, be friendly to people, help them when it needed to be. Love our neighbor. When we love our people according to the Bible, when you love our neighbors according to the Bible, is to show love, is to share in whatever you to share what you have, give to the others, give to the needy, then you show love according to the Bible. And the other one, the roles of Council of Churches in Namibia. Who or what is the Council of Churches? What does it do? What is its role? One is to read and look at this whole concept and ask yourself the question, why was the Council of Churches established? And many times when you look at this question, this is a very nice, I should say, long question. Why was it established? Who are the members of the Council of Churches? What is their role? All those things are so important. And the other one also here is the qualities and function of inspirational religious leaders. Who are these leaders? How are they selected? What qualities should they have? What separate them from any other man on street? All these things are very, very important in their functions. Now, sometimes in the exams or in the assignments or exams, the functions are, you are either asked to outline them, you name them, what are these functions, or you are asked to describe or to give a short description what the functions are, qualities or functions of inspirational religious leaders. All these things, and how do the leaders also inspire us or inspire the people? What good things do they do? One of them is to solve, or is to, when there are conflicts in the society, among the different organizations and so on, this is where the Council of Churches or the leaders have to come in. The spiritual leader could be mostly they are pastors, bishops, and so on, and some are only office bearers. So it's very, very important that someone have to understand all this. And then let's look also at the following points here. How traditional healers contribute positively towards people's life. The reason that traditional leaders are mostly older people, the way different cultures carry out the funeral ceremonies, the kind of help that can be offered to a grieving person, ways you can utilize to get involved with people who are sick, injured, or disabled. How will one do all this? Without looking in the module, it is important, but let's look at the things around us. How traditional healers contribute positively towards people's lives. Who are the traditional healers actually? Is it now the doctors in the hospital? Is it only the man who is in a shack or under a thatch roof? Or who are they actually? First, one has to find who they are and what role they portray. And the reason that traditional leaders are mostly older people. But before I go to that one, let me go back to the first one. How do they contribute? Usually we read and we see in our societies when people have problems, mostly they run to the traditional healers and they go and tell what their problems are. They are asked a certain fee. Sometimes people are even overcharged. And sometimes traditional healers even take advantages of our people, of our young ones. Let's make an example. Sometimes people will even go to traditional healers, let's say if they are barren, and they will tell you, no, first you have to sleep with me, those type of things. All those roles have to be understood. And we also have to understand, why do they charge such hefty or heavy fees? And they say mostly they are older people. Of course, we learn that older people are usually wiser, they know everything, they know the medicines and so on. So if one really reads, you'll understand better. The way different cultures carry out their funeral ceremonies. A question could be posted, for instance, write about the funeral ceremonies or how people do this in your community or in your community. Then be prepared to write what you know. Be prepared to write what you usually see. People will come gather at the house, for instance. Others will cry. Others will sit in a circle. It depends what tribe you are and which community you are. This kind of question can occur. So see, is it now generally people put on, for instance, black clothes and so on. But if you say in a community or how is it done, be prepared to explain right from the beginning how it all started. People will sit around, they will sing in the evenings, they will sit, it depends what tribe, as I said. How long will you sit? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? What will happen? How do people reach the graveyard? What is done after the after the burial? Do people share the clothes of the deceased and so on? All these things are very important. And once you know all these things, you will be able to relate to the funeral ceremonies in your own area. The kind of help that can be offered to a grieving person. It also sounds like a general thing, but I think it also depends from community to community. People might come and sit maybe for weeks or days, depending who passed on. And they might even ask to help you with some chores in some cultures. Maybe wanting to go for shop for you, or wanting to make some, what do I say, burial arrangements, or helping to make food, helping to take maybe your kids for a while, if in case the house is full and so on. It depends what roles people are playing. It will be okay to mostly rely or to abide more to the module, but it is also okay if people go a little bit and consult other sources also to see what different societies are doing in this case. Ways you can utilize to get involved with people who are sick, injured, or disabled. If this question comes, what will be done, or what exactly is expected, what kind of answers? To you, the disabled, ways you can utilize to get involved with people who are sick. Sick people are the people who really need most attention. They need to be pampered. They need to be washed in some extreme cases. They need to be fed. They need to, it depends. For people who mostly are bedridden, they also need someone to read books to them and so on. And even people that are injured, if people cannot help themselves, they will really need help. Please read through all these things, and then you'll be able to give the correct answer. On the other Before I proceed to the other slide, I'll also say look at the marks that are allocated. It is okay to name or just to outline, but if they say describe, or sometimes they even say, describe, then maybe you name a point and you say a few you say a few things on that point, or sometimes maybe in a paragraph form. It depends what the question is. Look at the question, look at the marks allocated. It doesn't help to give a lot, like a whole page, if it's only 5 marks, or to only to mention few or three things if the marks are many, maybe 20, 25. So look at the marks and be able to explain. The financial responsibilities that go with having a family. Ooh, this is not an easy one. People have to plan for the family that exists or for the family to come. Also, think about, am I in a single family or am I part of a large family or an extended family? It depends on all these things. If a family is small, it's not necessary that the expenses are also few. Maybe the family is small, but maybe the kids are demanding, or they are attending very expensive schools or private schools, or the lifestyle of a certain family maybe is very high. It depends. But the bottom line is to save for the family, to be able to clothe the family, to feed the family, to make sure that the daily responsibilities are carried out, and so on. Then I look at the next point here. Challenges and consequences faced by single parents. Yes, it is not easy, I think. It shouldn't be easy, actually, if people are, when you refer to single parents, because that single mom or that single dad has to carry out all the responsibility. There is not even another person to share the responsibility with. It's on the kid's clothes, it's on feeding, it's on you name them, but it's only one parent. So either way, the parent has to plan or to look for help if possible. But now let's see, the most important thing is let us not deviate so much from the module. Let's see what hint it gives us. But dear students, you are also open to give good and valid examples. And then there's another point about advantages of helping a fellow human being. What advantages are there? People should wash each other's hands. One hand, wash the other hand. Advantages of helping. When people help each other, you will never lose out. If you help someone today, tomorrow you'll also roll a big stone out of your way. Characteristic of a good relationship. What characteristics are there? People can maintain very good relationship if people understand each other, not going on with gossips, helping each other or helping someone when there's a problem, listening to other people's problems and solve them if possible, or just giving a good ear. It's okay. But what are the characteristics? What is a good, not only those, what is it? What is the question here is, what is a good relationship? How do we characterize that one? How do we see this a good one? A good one is when people are sharing their problems, when people are discussing things, when people work together. All those are good characteristics. It depends how the question is posted, whether they say just outline them or describe them. The benefits of maintaining healthy interpersonal relations, all those things go hand in hand. So it's just for the students to look what is really needed, what must I do, what is required from me, what must I do, and mostly when assignments, for instance, are understood and questions are answered thoroughly, the load or the study or the load when it comes to exam is not so much, because for those who work very hard throughout the year, they find at the end of the year or for whatever, not only end of the year, but when the exams comes, things become easier. And the last thing I want to say on this page is, especially there, the benefits. They say healthy interpersonal relations. People should think about how they can benefit. They say benefit, not just anything, but the method. How do you benefit or maintain? How do you make sure that relationship which is good is always there? It does not break, because they talk about maintaining. How do you keep it there? How do you make sure you are very happy in the relationship? All those things are very important. I think I jump here. The next page, the benefit of maintaining health. Okay, I think I was a bit fast. The factors that you can employ to improve or to enhance self-image and self-esteem. What is self-image or what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is thinking about yourself, thinking about what do I do to look good for other people. What are the things that make me stand out? How can I improve? What can I do? What skills should I have? Ask yourself. We don't only just run to the book. Some of the things are just general, like those ones. How can I enhance that? What can I do to add to what? What skills can I learn which I do not have? Self-image is actually not only how you look, but how you also stand out. People should not bully themselves, but people should think and just give the best food. Always put your best food ahead. Ways to stop selfish attitudes in children. What can be done here? Kids can be taught right in the beginning, while they are still babies even and become toddlers. They should be told how to share with other kids, how to listen to others, not to be selfish, not only thinking about themselves, think about the next person. And then the benefit of forgiving someone. How do we benefit? If you always forgive, if a person is forgiving, stress becomes lesser. You become a self-loving person. Even sickness are very far from a person who's forgiving. You always have a healthy relationship with others if you are forgiving. And other people also always take you with open arms because they know you are a forgiving person. Up here, there are also ways to overcome stress. Oh, there are so many, the list is long. Over the years, we've been seeing students just writing anything they've read and so on. It's not just about anything, but let us look also at things that really help us. Some people go for dancing, some people go for whatever they do to ease their stress, extra cooking classes, visiting a friend, reading a book, listening to music, whatever calm them down, joining dance classes, like I've said, or everything that can ease the stress. There are so many things. Taking a walk, joining a good club. Let us look at all those things. They ask about a way how people can overcome stress. Even if stress will not just go overnight, it helps you in many ways. It will go slowly by slowly, and people should maintain and try by all means. There is always a way, always. Or maybe looking for a shoulder, looking for someone who will be able to listen to you, to your problems, or even if they don't give you an answer, just do all those things, do whatever is possible. Read, there are so many. Try to find these ways and learn them by heart. Preparing yourself for an interview, that is a very good one. What should one do if you have to go for an interview? What are the most important things? People should first find out Where is this interview place? What time am I expected? And give yourself, ask yourself even, I wonder what people will ask about me. Find out about the company. What type of company is that one? If you have a friend, ask also here and there about that company or that organization. What do you think people will require? Think how long is that company in existence. All those things are very, very important. People can even go to an extent where you draw a few questions for yourself, go through them, be very, very, very prepared, and be punctual at all time. All time. People look at your at the first impression, and they look if this person is already late for this interview. I wonder what will happen in the future. If they cannot keep up on day one, all those things are very, very, someone has to be very, very prepared when it comes to interviews. And then there's the other point which says different rights like birth, adult, marriage, and so on. In these rights, they go and it's very, very explained nicely. The birthright, in most cultures, or I can say worldwide, it's very important. People always look forward to see how the child is welcomed in their family. In some cultures, they have some different rituals and so on. And then when it comes to adulthood, people have to go to certain stages. It depends where. Sometimes when people come to puberty, they're 12, 13, around there, they go to certain classes or certain adults educate them in certain ways, how they should behave, what they should do, what they should go through before they become adults, and so on. And then another right, when you talk about different rights, they also a marriage, how people get in marriages, for example. Remember, is people who are coming from different families to come and join and become a union, and many others. All these things, dear students, go through, understand them, and don't mix them. Adulthood, marriage, and so on. Do not mix all these things. Go step by step, study them, read through. Try also to relate to daily life, whether this is really what it's needed. Then, as a conclusion, please prepare thoroughly for the examination, revise all the units and their learning outcomes, take note of all the action verbs, define, explain, discuss, all those, look what is needed. Take note of all the action verbs. You should have an understanding of each verb and answer precisely what is asked. Utilize your experience as a teacher or student teacher, and please do not leave any question unanswered. You might think you are in a hurry, or you might think this is not very important. You will never know. Even if you are not very sure, excuse me, try to give an answer. Who knows, maybe it will be your lucky try, that one. So please answer all the questions. Please contact me with questions that you may have regarding the study material. The best contact time, 8 o'clock in the morning until 8:30, which is 20:30, on Mondays to Saturday. My mobile phone is 081273. I think there's an error there. It's actually not 272, but it's 273-2204. My email address is there, hilka.nangula@gmail.com. All the best and good luck.